County Board of Commissioners for Tuesday, July 22nd. All commissioners are present. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next up is comments for items not on this agenda. All right, hearing none, moving on. Approval of the agenda.
Also move. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, passed unanimously. Approval of minutes of July 15th.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, passed unanimously. Assessor update. Ms. Valerie, good morning.
Right. Well, thank you for asking me to come and talk about the work that we do. Always a privilege to share the exciting news in the assessor's office. I prepared a PowerPoint for you today to go through the update for you. So let me get started.
Click the actual.
Okay, there we go. So can you guys see that okay? Yeah. All right. So first of all, I was going to talk about the market value changes over the past 16 years. We have more than doubled our value in the county in the last 16 years. In 2008, we were at 8.1 billion. And for 2024, we were at 17.1 billion of real market value. Our assessed value is limited by statute to a 3% growth plus new value on the roll. And in 2008, we were at 4.2 billion. In 2024, we were at 8 billion, almost doubled. To get a different picture though, because this doesn't tell the story of Measure 50. So the next slide, this is percent change in assessed value. So this is from one year to the next. So in 2008 to 2012, we saw the percent change decrease due to the downturn in the market. And then in 2013, it started to go back up again. And we have a couple of peaks there. It looks like in 2015 and 2017, and then again in around 2020, it peaked again. The blue line is just representing my time as assessor in the office.
So you're trying to say it's not all your fault?
It's exactly.
It's not a very good likeness. I think an actual stick figure of you a little.
Well, I guess I could have put a picture of me in there, but all right, so then the next slide is our taxes. So we've almost doubled our tax revenue in the last 16 years. In 2008, we were collecting about 65.9 million. And last year we were at 126 million. So then I wanted to take a look at the multiple listings. So the Willamette Valley multiple listings is primarily what we use that represents Polk County. And in 2020, our average sales price of a residential property in Polk County was roughly $350,000. And year to date for 2025, we're over 500,000. That is a 44% increase in the last 5 years. 5 years. In 2021, you can see we had probably the most significant growth from 2020 to 2021. And then it's decreased. Well, the average sales price has increased, but the percentage, the rate that it's growing is starting to decrease. So it'll be interesting to see what our actual numbers for 2025 will be, if they'll even out from the 6% increase or if it'll, flatten out a little bit. Office updates. So we had some change in our appraisal staff. In the last couple months, we had our data analyst, commercial appraiser resign, move on to a different career. We were very sad to see him go. He was excellent at the job that he did. But we have another appraiser in the office that will do just as well. And we've promoted Becky to our data analyst commercial position. So we're in the process of training her. And we just hired an appraiser, an experienced appraiser from another county that is going to come and we believe will seamlessly fit into our staff with minimal training, just really up to our procedures and policies. They come with full knowledge of Measure 50 and appraisal work. So we're really excited to have our new appraiser start in August. We are currently recruiting for a temporary part-time for our scanning project. We are in the process of converting all of our appraisal jackets to digitized records. And for the past year, we've had one employee do it on a very part-time basis. We have a total of 111 file drawers that need to be scanned. And in that last year, on a very part-time basis, we've completed 5. So we're hoping that with this very part-time hire that we will double that to 10 drawers in a year and maybe even pick up the pace a little bit and, hopefully get this project done in a couple of years, as long as I have funding. So one of the jobs of our office is to, once we mail out tax statements, is to take phone calls and questions at the counter from the public in regards to their values. Our first process that we do is we call informally a request for review. That's our first contact with the taxpayer, where we do an informal review of the value to do more of a market comparison approach versus the mass appraisal approach that we use to appraise property. And if we are wrong, then we adjust values. If not, then we have the support to sustain our values. And over the last 5 years, we have done less than 25 of those every year. So I'm not sure what that says, whether our values are good or if we're too low, but I know this staff does a really good job at fielding questions and to even get to that point of, explaining Measure 50 to the taxpayer and what the limitations are of what they can appeal. There's some really good education going on from my staff throughout the tax season, throughout the year really, but specifically during tax season. So for the reviews that we don't agree on, they file to PVAB, formerly known as BOC. And over the last 5 years, we get less than 10 per year. In last year, 2024, we had 8 appeals. 3 of those were stipulated before the board met. 1 was withdrawn and 1 was dismissed due to lack of authorization to present. So at PVAB, only 3 were heard, with really one of those, 2 of them being a unit. So it was really 2. So very proud of those statistics. We have Sarah primarily does this phase of the process when they get to PVAB, and she does an excellent job in her review process and working with the taxpayers and explaining and working with them through this process. And this is definitely shown in the numbers that we have. Wanted to give you a little bit of an update on the exemptions. The assessor's office has over 100 exemptions that we can administer that are possible. But today I'm going to talk to you about the enterprise zone. In Polk County, we have 3 businesses that participate in the enterprise zone. The first one is West Salem Machinery. They're a longtime participant. They continually pursue new authorizations to add new assets and take advantage of this program. For the 2023 and 2024 taxes, it was roughly $30,000 that was exempt. And they have again added new assets for 2025. Ascentic Engineering here in Dallas, for 2023 and 24, their taxes were over $350,000 that were exempt. And they again added new assets for 2025. Wanted to make a note here that they are in the new urban renewal district for Dallas. So when they do come online, all of those taxes will go to the urban renewal.
You had to mention it.
The third business is Open Road Global here in Dallas. The Dallas is their headquarters, so they were able to participate in the enterprise zone as headquarters. So in 2024, they were still under construction, so they filed for enterprise zone CIP, construction in process, and it was about $43,000 that were exempt. And then this year in 2025 will be the first year of a 3-year exemption. And this property is not in an urban renewal district. The next exemption I wanted to talk to you about today is a program called Community Solar. These solar farms are taxable while under construction. Once they have completed their local governmental electrical inspections prior to starting operations, they are granted an exemption. We have 2 solar farms that were taxed while under construction and are now exempt. Both solar farms are in tax code 4408. The districts affected are West Valley RFPD, Willamina School District, Chemeketa Community College and Libraries, Polk Soil and Water, and Polk County. So one of the solar farms was removed from the roll in 2024-25. So that was $57,000 that they paid in taxes while under construction for 2023-24. So in the next year, $57,000 was essentially off the roll. The second solar farm paid roughly $80,000 in taxes, and they're going to be removed from the roll this year. So just, that's more for that tax code area. They feel that loss, that's such a significant amount of value without explanation that is removed from the roll. In general, Polk County has 6 community solar farms. We have 3 upcoming community solar farms. It's unknown at this point if they will be taxable while under construction. Solar farms are appraised by the Department of Revenue. They're considered a utility account, so I won't know till I get the utility roll, and that's typically at the end of August. Polk County has 3 taxable solar farms. 2 of those operate under a PILT agreement with Polk County. That's payment in lieu of taxes. And it's a per kilowatt is the rate that they pay. And what they pay each year is $15,400. And the solar farm that is not participating in any exemption, their taxes last year were right under $15,000. They started at a higher rate, and then each year it's based off of the assessed value, and it historically goes down a little bit. So what's next in our office? So during the summer months, we are in appraisal mode, reappraisal mode, and the appraisers are out in the field, going into their maintenance and study areas that they've been assigned, doing reappraisal. Just in residential areas, it's house by house, making sure our records are accurate and up to date. We're also in training mode with our new commercial data analyst, also our new hire. We're constantly working on digitizing our records in our downtime. We're doing farm forest reviews. Primarily, that's farm and forest special assessments that are tagged for review. For some reason, they've been tagged that maybe we need to take a second look and make sure that they are meeting the requirements of the special assessment. And then working with them to get them into compliance. We're also in the process of cleaning up data from a commercial conversion. Our software provider rewrote our commercial program, and in that rewrite is a big learning curve of a new look to our software and how it works, and then recognizing some of the pitfalls in the rewrite. So we're working with our vendor right now in cleaning up that data. And coming up at the end of August to beginning of September is when we are closing out the 25-26 tax roll. We're taking in budget documents. Actually, those were due by July 15th. I have a couple of districts that had a bond passed, so they've asked for extensions. So I should get theirs by the end of August. We're finalizing map changes and doing data cleanup in our role. Finally, I wanted to end with a legislative update, pretty high level conversation about 3 of the bills that I wanted to talk about today. The first one is Senate Bill 1094. This was the assessor's veterans exemption versus tax credit bill. Work started in the 2024 short session once we saw that the Department of Revenue had updated their rule when it comes to processing veterans exemptions. We were hoping for a solution in the 2025 long session, but that didn't happen. Now we are gearing up to get a running start for the 2026 short session and hoping that we can get something passed. So what happened to Senate Bill 1094? Well, the bill got hung up for a couple months with LRO doing the math on the exemption amounts. We're not quite sure why it took so long, but it ate up a couple months. After some prodding, it passed the Senate 30-0 unanimously. And then it moved on into the House where it died as a result of collateral damage. We had time to get it heard in the House. It was short, but we did have time. But word was that the Democratic leadership was holding up a bunch of bills as leverage to get Chair Meek to vote for the transportation package. And this was one of them. So the assessors have our conference the first week in August, and this is a priority in our conversation of our next steps to get this a running start at getting this bill passed. It's changing how we look at veterans exemptions and creating a tax credit versus an AV exemption. House Bill 3518 was our bill for A&T funding. We really pushed hard. We had a lot of support, a lot of education, setting the groundwork and the foundation. But in the end, we just couldn't get it past the opposition, which at the very end spoke up loudly. So special districts and LOC, they were looking for additional modifications. So we're going to spend the next few months trying to better understand our stakeholders' opposition and need, and trying to include the modifications to get their support so we can push this over the finish line.
Just to help you out, LOC for the record is League of Oregon Cities, and special districts essentially is an association to oversee policy needs for fire districts and water districts and that sort of thing. I'm just doing that for the record so that I want people to hear this loudly. So where I may agree that the core county function statement is accurate, we can't do it for free. And I'm saying this to all you city managers and mayors
that aren't listening carefully. So, I mean, that's the point. And what I want citizens to understand, yeah, we get it. We get whose job it is. We just can't do it for free. And they get all the benefit and we get all the expense.
And as time goes on, it gets more complicated to do the work that we do and more expensive. So we need to partner together to ensure that the role is accurate, that we can get you the money that you need. For a lot of these districts, property taxes is their number one revenue stream. And we need to protect that. And working together in a partnership is the way to get there. So we just need to figure out what our stakeholders need and see if we can't meet those needs and come to an agreement. And that's what we're focusing on.
Has there been any calculation? I know that Polk, it's not necessarily a problem in Polk County yet, but just money left on the table for special districts and cities and counties because of lack of capacity due to this unfunded mandate. It's not unfunded by the state necessarily. This is unfunded by us, all of us, right? So just curious if there's been any sort of guesstimates from your association and other counties, maybe larger counties that might be feeling the pain of this more.
For sure. I know Lane County has been very vocal and they've got support from their major cities and school districts in Lane County. They have areas that they haven't reappraised in over 25 years that they haven't set foot in. They have a lot of omitted property on the roll. There's a lot of value left to be had. And their return on investment is significant to get extra funding, to hire the staff, to reach those places, to do the reappraisal, to pick up the new construction. Believe it or not, some counties can't even pick up new construction in a year. They have so much of it and they don't have enough staff to complete all the work. So they have to roll the new construction over to the next year. That's just lost revenue. That's just unacceptable.
We must be close to that edge. We feel like we're keeping up in Polk County.
We are doing fine. We are funded. But you know, just like all the other counties out there, we're on the edge. Like we may be funded this year, but we can see the handwriting on the wall. There is shortcomings. There's going to be some cuts if things don't change.
So testifying at this, listening to Multnomah County's testimony amazed me. I can't remember how many assessors they're short, but it was like a dozen or something. And they stated every assessor that we could hire would bring in $1 million in taxes annual because they haven't reassessed properties in over the 25 to 30 years. So,
And the fee increases in 3518 are pretty modest.
yeah,
You know, just
it doesn't fund it at all.
pretty modest recording fee increase. To me, it's sort of the trade-off is, you know, in Polk County, you're saying $9 billion of value is not being taxed. Depending on where you sit on that's kind of a good thing, right? But to maintain that and to maintain the integrity of that, we need to pay for what is taxable. And yeah, so I have 3 commissioners that are very supportive of that effort.
Yes, and I very much appreciate the support of the Polk County Commissioners in our efforts. Very much appreciated. Lyle, you showed up and supported, you testified on our behalf. And, you know, I thank you for your time and support.
It was just amazing listening to county after county, large and small, all struggling. And we've invested. We've backfilled their department for quite a while. So we're looking pretty good compared to a lot. Imagine 30 years of not going back and seeing what's been additions have added on to the buildings, industries, and even housing. They were assessing them online. They never go to the locations. They don't have the manpower. So it's unbelievable.
Fortunately, the counties aren't the only advocate in the room. It sounds like we need to build more coalition.
And you run a tight ship, Valerie. I know they're after you to hire more assessors. So back in 2008 to 12, when you guys were here, the downturn, You really streamlined how this county works. And to the credit of all the commissioners, we follow that mantra. I think, I'm very proud of what we've done since my time, but looking back at our predecessors, you guys have always done a great job watching those dollars, put them to good use.
In the downturn, we did lose 2 positions in our office, an appraiser and an office staff person. When in 2021, somewhere in there, when the market started increasing significantly, we did get those positions back. That's been significant in our success to keep up with the work. So I really appreciate the support from our team. You fully understand the work that we do and how vital it is. It is a core county function, but it also is changing as new bills gets passed, which requires work from us, possible software changes, working through those issues. It takes time and it takes us away from doing the daily work that we need to do to get our job done. So finally, I wanted to end with the WIN, Fire Districts and Fire Patrol. They got their bill passed and we were in support of their bill. It increased the dual protection from 5 acres to 10 acres and now includes spare land. It's going to be a heavy workload for us in the first year, but it'll be easy to administer from that point forward. So again, this is one of those bills that we were in support of. It is going to take manpower from our office, and it's going to divert us from doing other work to update the records to accommodate the changes that are made in the bill. But we do that in support of the fire chiefs and the fire districts. And in turn, I'm hoping that they will see our support and our partnership and in turn support us in our endeavors to gain sustainable A&T funding.
Help us out with what you know on where this is applied going forward, because it's not out in the middle of the valley, as far as I can remember. But
Right.
Is it farm forest
So far,
primarily?
Fire Patrol has a committee and they've designated it their boundary. So they went through a process, I want to say in 2012-ish, somewhere around there, where they had a committee that identified their boundary that would get this per acre rate that was considered their area that they were responsible for. And there's some overlap with fire districts in that. So when historically how it has operated is if it's bare land, it gets the per acre charge, which goes to the fire patrol, the Department of Forestry. And if they have an improvement, then they get this surcharge on the property that goes to both fire patrol, but then it's also duly assessed to the fire district. So
They have to have an element of forest protection to be dual.
yes and no. It's, this is a boundary that the committee established. And so in that, it's not 100% forest. There's probably an element or close to a proximity, but there's probably pockets in there that's got farm deferral.
I think of Fishback Road, for example, and that hill up there, that's a dual protection area.
Yeah.
Because anytime there's a fire on farmland in that area, generally it's within the boundaries of that fire patrol. So that's an example. I'm just, again, saying that for the benefit of anybody who's listening. Go, what is this?
Right. I guess.
It feels like a new tax. It isn't. It's just it's been enhanced.
Yes.
And fire districts, what I call structural fire, will get some benefit from that as well. Where in the past, they've just been aiding and assisting ODF gratis.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct. Well, that's all I had. Do you have any questions?
I have one just for the people that might be watching. One of your earlier slides showed that we collect about $126 million in total. That is countywide. That's not Polk County.
Correct.
We get about 13.5 cents on the dollar. So of that 126, we get about 17 million. So we are collecting for everyone else without them contributing to the system at all. So that's why they should be on board rather than not on board.
Great point.
I want to share that I've heard some feedback from constituent or residents about the positive interactions with you and your office, and have heard positive things from city councilors as well about you explaining the intricacies of 5 and 50 and all that good stuff. So thanks for all that outreach and community education.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for taking the hot seat. Okay, do we have any non-listed items?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. All right, good to the order. Anything?